Hi, I'm Mark, and today I want to talk about the Labour Party and its struggle for the future. Jeremy Corbyn has represented Islington North in the House of Commons for more than 40 years. When he was first elected there in 1983, he was 33 years old, a representative of the young radical left around the then party leader Michael Foot, who led Labour to a painful defeat by Margaret Thatcher. Today, Corbyn represents the old radical left. He led Labour to a crushing defeat by Boris Johnson as party leader in 2019. When he subsequently resigned and was succeeded by the more moderate Keir Starmer, Corbyn was even expelled from the Labour group in Parliament. Corbyn's political decline finally came to an end last week. At Starmer, not last week, but it's time ago. At Starmer's request, the party executive decided that Corbyn would no longer be allowed to run for Labour in the next election in 24. Corbyn is now considering running for his constituency as an independent, but the break with Labour is likely to be final. Corbyn remains popular in his constituency, and if you ask people in Islington about him, you mostly hear praise for him as an effective advocate for his constituents, writing letters and emails, and indeed doing what he promises. But he has become a liability for Labour ahead of the general election, which is likely to take place in 2024 and could give Labour a hefty victory. Corbyn not only suffered one of the biggest defeats in the party's history against ex-Prime Minister Boris Johnson. The British Equal Rights and Human Rights Commission, EHRC, had also examined allegations of anti-Semitism and found them to be valid. As party leader, Corbyn did too little to counter anti-Semitism in the party. Corbyn played down these allegations instead of taking them seriously, and this eventually earned him the expulsion of the group. Competitor Starmer overturned the party, created new selection procedures for candidates and an independent complaints office, and dismissed members from the party and the parliamentary group, especially from the Corbyn sympathizer circle. Many on the radical left saw Israel as the main enemy. Jews at Labour were under general suspicion, and there were anti-Semitic statements to the point of Holocaust denial. And then Starmer came along instead of Corbyn. Suddenly they were the center of attention and they received respect. Zero tolerance of anti-Semitism and detoxification of political culture was a thing suddenly at Labour. And Labour is now supposed to be a social democratic party that understands that markets need to be monitored and controlled to ensure social justice. At least members say that. However, there are many left-wing critics of the Starmer cause at Labour rank, but they are keeping quiet at the moment. Currently, the selection of parliamentary candidates for the next election is causing great tension within the party. Another reason why so many members do not want to speak openly. Starmer had asserted the local chapters would continue to call the shots, but in reality, whole boards are resigning because the party leadership is looking for people who do not have the local majority behind them, it said. Half-heartedness and immobility on the outside, but all the more despicable action against critics on the inside. That is the accusation so many Labour members level against their boss. In the British public, Keir Starmer is not a star. He does not land on negative popularity ratings like the Conservative Prime Minister Rishi Sunak or like his predecessor Liz Truss and Boris Johnson, like they did before their resignation. But there's also nothing to suggest the kind of enthusiasm that was met with the last Labour election winner. That was Tony Blair in 1997. Starmer is less popular than his party, which is consistently far ahead in the polls, sometimes with approval ratings of 50%. And now in Islington, Labour activists are now digesting the news that their beloved MP Jeremy Corbyn is now outside the party. What happened to him was solely due to his support for the Palestinians, some of his supporters say. Starmer is a puppet of the Zionist right which controls the media, the banks and the state, they say. But this is exactly the kind of thinking that made Corbyn intolerable and that Starmer wants to banish from the Labour Party in order to make it electable. And this goal supersedes everything else. And from the point of view of the later leadership, this also justifies the public appeal of Corbyn's banishment from the Labour candidate ranks in this case. In Islington North, people also have to make up their minds whether to support an independent candidate, Corbyn, or a Labour Party without him. So despite the good numbers in the polls, Labour has a lot to deal with.